What's good to the tribe? Fair use. So we're going to do a follow-up from the last video. Saponi Indian cabins in 1737 and contemporary tribal communities. On November 8th, 1737, a land deed recorded in Amelia County, Virginia contains a report of Saponi Indian cabins. This historic record is quite significant because it documents a very specific date and location of Saponi people. Throughout the 1700s, documented sightings of Saponi people continued to diminish. So any and every reference to the Saponi is important in tracking their location. Fort Christiana, 1714 to 1718, the Saponi Reservation. So here's some background on it. You can see they used it as a buffer zone between the English colonists and tribes they deemed as hostile. The fort was located in what is now Brunswick County, Virginia. And you can see there were Eastern Siouan-speaking tribes. After the fort closure in 1718, it is evident that the Saponi fractured into smaller family groups. You can see the Tutelo, which was one of our first languages. You can see we have multiple reports of Saponis in the 1730s moving to and from the Catawba Reservation. And it's just giving you a little background on it. Just make sure you look in the description and for my pen, and I'll drop the link. And coming up will be the mile marker for it. And it just shows the Fort Christiana marker and just giving you a little bit of background and history on them. You can see the word Occaneechi, which is one of my tribes. My last name is the original surname of the Occaneechi. And right here is the 1737 land deed. And you can see how they wrote it out. The way they spelt certain words. And coming up is a drawing of a map just showing the Saponi cabins related to Fort Christiana. And you can see the map was drawn by an archaeologist, Holland. I'm just giving you background on the counties around that time and where the Saponi actually lived. It even shows maps of the counties and where the Saponi Indian cabins were and where Fort Christiana was. And you can see they have it with the red writing, just pointing it out. And you can see where the Saponi Indian cabins is compared to Fort Christiana. It says a cluster of Indian traders in the Saponi Indians. And right here it's giving you names of the Indian traders, dates. And some of the residents that stayed on Fort Christiana. You can see colonels, majors, captains, and just breaking down a little bit of their history too. So like we say, 2019, show and prove. 2019, drama free. Nobody cares what you are. Just be able to prove what you are. Like we say, it's not about thinking or it's not about thought anymore. It's about knowing exactly what's going on. And you all should want to know exactly what's going on. Like we say, put some respect on your ancestors' names. But remember to go back to the last video. Hopefully it's helping people, especially if your families resided in those counties and had those surnames during those times. You see Great Indian Trading Path, aka the Occaneechi Path in North Carolina. You see Prince George County, talking about the militant and who they married, and so it breaks it down a lot. Definitely gives a good reference to the last video as far as number one. And trust. I'll be going through a lot of states and a lot of tribes, and we're gonna pinpoint where these tribes are and give a little history on the tribes that were in that area in that time. You can see something about the Tuscarora War in 1713. Robert Hicks led an expedition that included 50 tributary Indians. You can see identifying the Saponi Indians. So definitely a lot of good information. Too much to read on one video, so I'll give you guys a chance to go back and read it at your own pace. It's gonna start to break down lineages of some of the people that were in the fort, or some of the people that were in the Indian cabins, and giving some of their history and